So you want to know the best way to mount your cameras and lights in your video studio? Well, the mounting gear I'm about to show you transformed my entire video studio and helped me save space. Now, the important thing to understand here is that there are 4 ways to mount gear in your studio, whether we're talking about a simple home setup or a whole big pro studio. Ceiling mounts are freaking awesome and cool looking, and I love getting to put them in our clients' custom studio builds that we do as a service, but they can get expensive and kind of harder to justify. And if you want to move later or can't drill into the ceiling, it's a problem. Desk mounted is the simplest, least expensive, and easiest way, which is why that's what I teach in my paint by numbers style studio setup system, the Bold Video Bundle. But if you need to move the camera, teleprompter, or lights back away from the desk a bit, or maybe your desk's lip is just too wide to accommodate a desk mount, then you want to go beyond the bundle with a floor-mounted solution. And of course, you could do a tripod for the camera or a light stand, but that takes up so much floor space, and it's likely to get in your way and just cause frustration. Which brings us to the final solution, the one that transforms any video studio, is super pro looking, super flexible, and doesn't take up much space at all. It's the Varipole mounting system. Now I'm going to show you how it works exactly, the 3 pieces of gear that you need, and how to connect it all together simply and easily. I'm Larry Petrucci. I help busy entrepreneurs like you create better videos and live streams by choosing the right gear and the right software, show up confidently on camera, and get out of your own way so that you can create authentically and live boldly. Let's dig in. All right, so here's what you're going to need. You're going to need a Varipole. You're going to need a Manfrotto super clamp and the Manfrotto friction arm. Now, as we get started with this, I just want to point out one thing. Most people, when they get this stuff in their hands, they instantly become overwhelmed. Like, what do I do with all of this stuff? I promise you, it is simple, it is easy, as soon as you understand what everything is and how to put it together. So that's what we're doing. Let's take a look at how the Varipole works. Literally, the Varipole is a tension rod that goes floor to ceiling and doesn't require any drilling. It literally is using the tension or the pressure of the ceiling and the floor to hold it in place. It works on ceilings that are 6'11" to 12 feet tall. If your ceiling is more than 12 feet tall, you will not be able to use this. Because we're putting tension on the floor and the ceiling, it does need to be a solid ceiling. If you have a dropped ceiling, you need to use a separate adapter for that. Now, we use those in our custom studio builds, and they work great, but that's an entirely different setup and a different video. Now, if you have a full popcorn ceiling, it can work. It makes it a little less secure. And word of warning, I have actually had a Varipole with an expensive light fall because it lost that connection with that tension because of the popcorn. Although I do love me a good bucket of popcorn. However, ceilings like mine are totally fine. You'll notice that even the tension is holding, it can kind of wiggle like this if you shake it. That's absolutely normal. It'll hold up to 55 pounds, so just be sure that whatever weight you're adding to it as you attach gear is not over 55 pounds. It's gonna come just as a big pole, and it'll be in the shortest locked position. In order to unlock and position it, you're going to pull this piece right here and pull this lever out. And that's gonna make it possible for you to extend the pole to the right height. Put the bottom of the pole on the floor, and you're just going to push the pole up until it hits the ceiling. And then what you're gonna do is simultaneously push this piece up that you just raised and push this down. And then it's gonna lock into place. The Manfrotto super clamp is literally just an adjustable grip that will tighten against any pole. And you can see it goes small or really wide. You'll find one of these in the box. You can set that aside. Do keep it because it's really useful for other purposes, but we don't need that for what we're doing today. There's a removable insert that you can actually take out for this purpose. That insert is actually for a desk-mounted scenario, which is not what we're doing today. The Manfrotto friction arm attaches to the super clamp and then gives you full control over the placement of your gear. You can get the friction arm with or without a camera plate. If you're going to use it for a camera, go ahead and get the version with the camera plate. But if you're going to use it for a light or something else, then get the version without this. So it comes in 3 different pieces: the camera plate itself, the arm itself, as well as the control and adjustable knob. There's this protective piece that's placed above all of the washers in order to keep it all together during shipping. Now, you don't have to take it off, but theoretically, it could actually lessen the potential tightness of the arm, so you can go ahead and discard that. But word of warning, do make sure that you keep these positioned upwards while you're removing that. Otherwise, everything is likely to fall out and then you'll get very frustrated. Promise me, it's happened to me before. Then just take your wheel and screw that. See? Ah! See what I mean? Okay, so this bottom part needs to be pushed in. So if you do remove the protective piece, make sure that you hold this up so that you can keep the washers in place. Now go ahead and take the wheel and screw that on. Whee! Boom. You'll notice as I tightened it, these became more stable, and that is what this wheel does. As you loosen it, it makes these adjust, open, and as you tighten it, it makes them solid. I can't move this if I tried. Now take your camera plate. This is where the camera itself is going to attach. So this way goes up. Now on the top arm, the one closer to the wheel, you're going to actually position your camera plate onto this silver piece. Now it doesn't really matter which hole you put the silver piece in. I usually go for the one that is closer to where the camera is going to sit. And you'll notice inside this screw may be protruding into the hole. If that's the case, just unscrew it so that it's no longer seen here. That way you have enough room to push the silver piece straight through. Now you're gonna screw that against this and you'll feel it tighten up, and that's not going to come loose now. Now on the other end of the arm, we're going to attach that to the super clamp. On the bottom of the super clamp, there's only one hole and one screw that looks like this, so that's where we're going next. Make sure the screw itself is not interfering with the hole. Now you're going to take the other silver piece and you are going to press this button right here. Now notice this silver piece on the super clamp, you push it in. And as you push the silver button, you'll notice inside it's opening that hole up to allow room for this silver piece to slide right in. Let go of the silver piece and now tighten this screw on the side. And that's all there is to it. We're ready to attach it to the Varipole. Go ahead and tighten up the arms so that you don't have it flopping around on you. Find the position on the pole that you want. Loosen up by just opening up the clamp and tightening it on. I like to go as tight as I can just because you're putting expensive gear on this, so you don't want anything falling. Now you can go ahead and loosen the arms so that you have the full flexibility and maneuverability. Now, the thing that you'll notice about these arms is that they can kind of go any which direction, which is fantastic because it gives you full custom control. However, you'll notice sometimes as you're trying to position things, you might get a little frustrated with it not getting into exactly the right position that you want. And I just want to encourage you to recognize that there are these lips in a couple of sections of the pole so that your ball head up here can kind of go that way, fully controlled. But most importantly, this one at the base, if you're not getting it to hold the weight or get the exact position that you want, use this lip to your advantage. For example, if you're trying to raise this up and you hit a wall and you're like, I can't get it to where I want it to go, all you want to do is twist so that your lip gives you that extra flexibility. Now that you know that trick, you'll know more than most people who use these arms. The closer the arms are, the more secure your device is going to be. If you extend it all the way out and want to go like this, you're not going to be able to put much weight at the end. That is just gravity for you. And keep in mind that the maximum capacity of this arm itself is 8.9 pounds. When you're ready to attach your camera, you're just going to put the tripod thread at the bottom of your camera on this screw and screw that with the black piece first. Then secure it with the gray piece. And this gray piece gives you flexibility to move the camera around without unscrewing from the camera itself. Now here's the truth. It's one thing to know how and where to mount your gear, but it's an entirely different thing to know exactly which lights and microphone and teleprompter to buy, what accessories you need that are vital to your success to creating easy content, what settings to place your lights at so that you're not too dark or too blown out and become a ghost, how to set the software and the graphics up so that you have professional videos and live streams and Zoom calls. That's exactly what my paint by number style system, the Bold Video Bundle, does. You do exactly what I do with exactly what I tell you to buy. We just do it together. You follow along as I do it. And very quickly, you have professional video that stops procrastination, kills tech overwhelm, and lets you get to the good stuff, which is sharing your message and making a difference in the world. Am I right or am I right? Click here to get started now. It is time for you to create authentically and live boldly. You cannot be held back any longer. Let's go!